Failure. It's the number one thing that's on people's minds when it comes to starting a business. And I completely get it, guys. I mean, we all are afraid to fail. We are all afraid to let people down or, not live up to the expectations that we had for ourselves. It makes sense. But guys, you can't let failure stop you from living the life you want, pursuing the dreams that you have for yourself, and then building that, that massive influence or massive empire that you basically run that is able to affect other people's lives, or at the very least, make you happy doing what you're doing. So guys, in this video, I want to quickly talk to you about failure and some ways to overcome it, but also a different way to look at failure, because it really is all about perception. So stay tuned, we're gonna get some interesting information out in this video. All right, everybody, welcome back. My name is Jordan Steen, aka Serial Entrepreneur, and at this channel, we always like to talk about personal branding, starting an agency, building an online business, and essentially entrepreneurship. So if you haven't already done it, subscribe and then hit the notification bell right below in the bottom right-hand corner of this video, and you will get all of our updates on training, free video content, free giveaways we do at Serial Entrepreneur. So before we get into this whole talk, let me preface with this. Every entrepreneur that is successful that you see online that has millions, yachts, boats, all of that, including myself, I don't have the yachts, but we have all failed at some point, several times, not just once, not just twice, multiple times. I probably couldn't even count, and actually figure out the number, how many times I personally have failed. And I'm sure this relates to a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. The trick to overcoming failure is perceiving failure in a different way. Number one, defining what failure is to you, and then how you're going to perceive that failure. Do you perceive it as failure, like the true definition of failure, you didn't live up to something, or do you see it as a learning experience? Because that's what successful entrepreneurs do. They take a failure, they take an instance where they didn't live up to a specific goal or have the result or outcome that they were looking for. They failed, and they don't see it as failure. I don't see it as failure. To me, yes, it sucks. It may not be good. It may be completely bad, but it taught me something, and it taught me not to do it that way again. So now I know the right way to do it. That is the whole point of failure. To see success, you have to, most of the time, see failure. Yes, some people get lucky, but even those lucky ones see failure at some point. So just trust me, everyone goes through it. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Oh, and really quickly, if you're looking for some other information, here's 8 tips on staying motivated throughout your work week. So check that video out later. When it comes down to it, my boy Gary Vee really says it best. I dig in, change strategy, accept accountability and responsibility, and then I go all in. That's it. You have to understand that principle. I dig in, meaning, all right, it's about to be a workload. I'm about to have to learn something. It's going to take effort. All right, I'm dug in. I changed strategy. I figured out what I did wrong. And I say, okay, what can I do the next time to improve that situation, right? I accept accountability and responsibility, meaning I know that some of it, even if it wasn't all of it, was my fault. There's somewhere in there, if it's my business, there's somewhere in there where I didn't do something the right way, and I need to figure out what it was and accept that it was me and move on from that. Not just, accept it and relish and make it, just sit there and stew, but actually take it, look inward and say, okay, this was my failure. This was where I messed up. Stop, even just remove the word failure. This is where I messed up. How can I improve that experience next time? All right, you accept that, and then you say, okay, that's what I'm going to do next time it happens. And then you go all in. You say, okay, now let's get it. Let's go again. All right, and you go with it, or you go at it with the full effort. Gary Vee really said that statement best, and it's true. If you take each one of those 4 little parts and apply them to your learning process, to the learning curve, I guarantee you'll have such a better attitude and more motivation to improve yourself, because that's the focus. It becomes about improving yourself, right? Making yourself even better versus I suck at this, I'm not good at this, I quit. Right? And that's what a lot of people do. That's the difference, though, between someone who's successful with their business and someone who's not. The next point I want to hit on is, guys, just start. Okay, start. Whatever it is that you're afraid of starting or doing, if it's you going out to talk to clients, or if it's you trying to sell services or running the campaigns, whatever it is, if you're afraid to start your personal brand, stop being afraid and start. because you're never going to know, number one. You're never going to learn if you don't start. You'll never have the opportunity to improve. If you're never moving forward, if you're not improving, then you're complacent. You're basically sitting where you're at. You're not doing anything better for yourself or for your business. So start, because the only way you're ever going to improve is by taking that failure, looking at it dead in the eyes, dead in the face, and saying, all right, I'm going to come at you whether you like it or not. And whether I like it or not, I'm going to do it. Overcome that. Put yourself in a place where you're uncomfortable. That's essentially what it comes down to. As an entrepreneur, you need to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And the sooner you get to that, that place in your life, that position where, something random just came at you and it doesn't stress you out and freak you out and, put all these negative thoughts into your head, you say, okay, you start planning. All right, well, this is an issue. Why did this issue happen? What can we do to fix this issue? When you start to process things in your head that way, as opposed to looking at it as a negative, okay, well, this sucks. Yes, it does suck, but ultimately you have to fix it, right? So stop focusing on the things that don't matter, the things you can't control, and get back to focusing on everything that really does matter, what you can control and what you can fix right now. And then focus on next time you improve. You don't do the same thing you did last time. And if you do, that's your fault. You didn't learn your lesson. So take mental notes, really categorize things in your head and say, okay, this was a failure. Why did I fail at this? Really think things through internally so that way you understand it. You should have internal conversations with yourself. It doesn't make you crazy. I do that all the time. I talk to myself in my head all the time. I'm sure you guys do that too, but you have to be able to have those conversations. Another note. Expect to fail. It's going to happen. So don't just let it come to you. That means plan for failure, right? It's really two parts. Expect to fail and plan for that failure. If you do that up front before you even have the opportunity to fail, then at least you're comfortable with that failure coming at you, right? And I'm not saying plan to fail, but understand where things could happen. Losing a client to where you don't make enough money in revenue that month. What would you have to do to make sure that your business is going to make it by? If you're not planning for the negatives and all you ever plan for is the positives, then when that negative comes, it's really going to hit you, right? It's called damage control for a reason. You have those plans in place because it controls the damage, right? So do those two things as well. And the last final tip I want to give you guys is to set small goals. Like, don't go and say, I'm going to try and make $1 million in my first year ever running a business. That does not make sense. The 99% of businesses don't do that, all right? And you shouldn't expect to either. Don't have that expectation about yourself, right? Plan, okay? And then once you get your plan, which means set your goals, once you get your goals set, then start to execute on each one of those goals. You'll hit some failures, you'll have bumps in the road, but that's okay. Keep moving forward. Ultimately, figure out what you have to do to make that experience okay. So I want you guys to think of this before we end this video. Think of Benjamin Franklin. Think of Thomas Edison. Think of Steve Jobs. Think of Elon Musk. All of these guys failed at some point, but didn't let that failure stop them, and they became some of the biggest and greatest influencers of all time. All right? They failed. You should expect to fail. It's okay to fail. It's a learning experience that's going to make you better at whatever it is that you're trying to do. So I hope this video brought some motivation for you to keep going, for you to stop worrying about the failures and just worry about improving yourself. Figure out what it is that you have to do to improve yourself on a day-to-day basis and stop focusing on the failures, okay? So if this video did help you, please throw a thumbs up so that way other people who need this kind of motivation can get this video. Also leave a comment below if any of these things are things that you've done yourself that have definitely helped you overcome fear. And if you have something that I didn't mention in this video that helps you overcome fear, definitely leave it in the comments below so that way other people who might be having fear of failure or starting a business get a little help from you too. Oh, and in case you need some more tips on overcoming failure, we have another video on that, so check that video out right here in the top right hand corner. But that's it for today, guys. I really appreciate you stopping by. Again, if you guys are new and haven't done it yet, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you get all the updates to our video content. But I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, deuces. Ready to start living the six-figure work wherever, be your own boss lifestyle? Well, at Serial Entrepreneur Academy, we'll teach you how to use a laptop and internet to start your own social media and digital marketing agency. Get started with our free Facebook ads training. Links in the description below, guys. See you in the course. Serial Entrepreneur out.